What is up, maniacs? And welcome back to WMMAnia. I am your host, as always, Drake Riggs, here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of mixed martial arts when it comes to the ladies specifically. We are back after another week off. I greatly apologize. Whole lot going on right now. Don't even know what's been going on with StreamYard, as for some reason my mouse is on the screen now of our cover here, which I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it is there. So anyway, we have quite a jam-packed episode today because I'm going to try and make up and cover the ground for the last 2 weeks that we've missed. So this is a fat stacked lineup, and we'll probably breeze through things a little bit quicker here or try and manage the comments as best as we can. There's going to be some, cutting and managing as best as I can, as we will be recapping UFC 284, just one fight, Deep 112 Impact, one fight there, UFC Vegas 69 from this past weekend, as well as Deep Jewels 40. Plenty of news in the past 2 weeks, and then previews for Bellator 291 and UFC Vegas 70, and there's a couple other events that we will highlight. But yes, trying to make up for a bit of the lost time. How are we doing, everybody? Apologies. It has been a very, very crazy time in my life, and 2023 has been it's been a year so far, so we're getting back on track as best as we can. I've been a little bit under the weather and a lot of other stuff going on, so I apologize for the time away, but I hope everybody is doing okay. Like I said, probably going to try and divvy out comments a little bit better than we usually do, because I want to try and get to at least every topic as best we can. We might go, very likely going to go overtime today, but still, we'll see how it plays out. As Rain says, no clever pun today. Good to see you, Rain. I highly suggest everyone here check out Protect Your Neck, episode 270, where Dan explains lack of awareness and understanding of Stop Asian Hate in the media coverage of 261. All right, interesting. Shout outs to Dan, of course. Still got to get him on here at some point soon. Haven't reached out to him in a while, as we were planning on doing something. This intro says he's on time for once, so I can see the pun that Rain will use this week's episode. I guess not. I guess there will not be a pun. Sorry, sir. Jimmy says it's going to be a 2-hour episode since we have a lot to do and cover. Probably, yeah. That's what I made, some space to kind of keep that window open for the extra 30 minutes. So yeah, we will try and I'm going to try and cover everything as best as I can, and then of course interact with you guys as always. As Burns says, I think you misunderstood me last time when I said no one was hyped and people were complaining about 284's main event. What I meant was that the main event was underpromoted due to lack of hype. That is fair, Barton. Yeah, that was fair and common criticism, but man, turned out pretty great. So let's just get right into it. UFC 284, hell of a main event. Really enjoyed that one. Awesome fight. No real losers, if you ask me, except for maybe you can decide how you feel about it in the aftermath, but we won't get into that. What we will be getting into is the strawweight fights, the one fight that we did have from the women down under. Zloma Bunme gets the job done, defeats Elise Reed via second round submission with a rear naked choke. I have so many tabs open today that they are not well organized. Let me find the right one. Where is it? There it is. The rear naked choke in round 2, 44 seconds in. Didn't predict that one, right? Who expected Loma to maybe get a submission? Struggling a bit there at the end of the first round, and then she's like, all right, I'm going to change it up, make her catch her off guard a little bit there, goes for the takedown right away in the second round, gets it to the ground, and then quickly gets around the neck. No protection of the neck there from Elise Reed, as she is forced to tap. And it's not even fully under in that picture, which is interesting because it looked pretty tight. Obviously, this must be right before it sunk in a little bit deeper, but either way, good stuff for Loma. She was real hyped about it, as you would be, because I'm pretty sure that was her first submission win. As we know, she is a great Muay Thai practitioner, and yeah, was able to get off some of her striking in that first half of the first round. But yeah, went out there and added a little bit of a new wrinkle. So we knew she was working on this kind of stuff, but went out there and showed it off in pretty impressive fashion. Don't think this tells us too much, like we already knew. kind of, I still feel like we know what Loma is and what her ceiling is at strawweight. And again, this was an atomweight fight at strawweight, so tells us even less. If she would have done this to somebody who is a more natural strawweight, would have been more telling. But still, of course, a very good showing. And if we're to do our ratings, I think because of kind of the issues she had at the end of the first round, doesn't give her as strong of a performance rating. But again, getting this kind of win is good. So I think it's maybe a solid 6 for me. I think I would have expected a little bit better from Loma, or at least a cleaner performance. But again, can't be too mad at getting a finish that you've never gotten before like that. And then as for the fight, was just fine. It was not very long, so it's a solid 5. Um, but yeah. As James says, this is something I don't understand about Loma. She works with the best strawweight in the world, yet she got reversed in the first round. Why? There you go. That was what I was kind of highlighting. Well, I mean, just because you work with the best doesn't mean you're automatically going to be the best too, James. Of course, you gotta, takes time to continue to improve. She's still working on these things, still has to work on some of these things. But yeah, good reversal by Reed. Give her some credit for pulling that off. Again, we know Loma is primarily a striker, so it takes time to improve in all areas. As Jimmy says, did I hear Reed's corner say Loma was flat-footed and slow despite getting outworked on the feet in the first round? No. I think, did they not hit us with commercials? I don't remember that. I do not remember that. I can never have memory of like in between rounds for prelim fights because of the goddamn commercials. It's so annoying. You pay for a subscription service and you get commercials. Drives me insane. So my memory just does not retain if anything happens there. I know for the main card they still, do that, thankfully. But yeah. So that was UFC 284, you guys. Like I said, got a lot to cover today, so might not be as in-depth. And I mean, I don't think there's much more to add to that fight anyways. Not sure who we'll see Loma against next, but it's always fun getting to watch her fight regardless. And should have said off the top, but yeah, of course, if you guys are here, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, follow along on all platforms if you enjoy what we're doing at WMMAnia.com. There's even a notification bell so you don't miss a gosh darn thing when we're live, like we are right now, or if you're watching on replay, when we do go live. You can join in on the festivities and fun. So, yeah. All right. But then we move along to the, what do we want to call it here? The comeback, as well as I'm blanking on what we call this. Not predatory matchmaking. What's the other one? My brain's not working today, you guys. Anyways, Deep 112 Impact. Satoko Shinashi makes a successful return at age 45 or 46. She's one of those. The legendary atomweight, microweight fighter defeats Reina Kobayashi via unanimous decision. Have not got to see this fight yet, but got to point it out just because Shinashi is a legend, one of the best to ever do it, one of the most accomplished, one of the craziest records. I mean, she has tied Roxanne Modafferi once again with the fight here. Doesn't matter if she would have won or lost. She would have tied the record for most fights for a female fighter. But she gets the job done, and it looked like she, from what I saw and read, looked like she leaned on her grappling as expected. She's never been much of a striker and kind of overwhelmed the inexperienced Kobayashi in comparison. So not much of a surprise. Shouldn't have been a surprise. But again, if you were to say, the younger fighter should still beat the older fighter no matter how big the experience gap is, then go ahead and say that. But not surprising. Really shouldn't have been. So yeah, there we are. Congrats to Shinashi, one of the goats. See if she continues to try and go on a run or whatnot. But I don't know if that would go very far. All respect due to her. Still have to see the fight, of course. But if she couldn't finish Kobayashi, I don't think that's a great sign for her longevity at this stage. So, chair out of the way, even though it's covered. Try to keep everything nice and pristine here. But all right, let's move on to UFC Vegas 69 from this past weekend. We had two finishes, two pretty solid performances here. I mean, one very, very solid performance, and you guys, we didn't get to talk about this one last week because of the lack of episode, but obviously we had a change up. It was supposed to be Tyler Santos versus Erin Blanchfield. Instead, something happened to Tyler Santos. We don't know what happened to her. In comes Jessica Andrade. Bittersweet for me. I like them both. Why does one have to lose? But boy, oh boy, we got one hell of a performance from the cold-blooded one. Erin Blanchfield defeats Jessica Andrade via second round submission, rear naked choke, minute and 37 seconds into the second round. You guys, listen, I'm going to take, as much as I love Jessica Andrade as well, I'm going to take every opportunity that I can to brag about when I'm right. Okay. And if you guys have been following me, for those of you who are watching, or if you're new, if you've been following this show and kind of stuff I do and just, any of my opinions and things over the years, I've been saying since Erin Blanchfield got into MMA, she's the best prospect in the entire sport. Then Sakezawa came along. It was 1A and 1B. They were both the best prospects. Both of them no longer prospects. Both of them doing pretty damn good well. So I know a thing or two sometimes. I just got to point that out. I was right about both of them. One's one of the best in the world. Blanchfield's on her way to being one of the best in the world. One of the best flyweights in the world now. This was excellent. 23 years old. Izawa, on the other hand, 25 now? 24, 25. They're both just insane phenoms. Man, I still believed in her to get this done, even though I thought it was a harder matchup than Santos would have been, even with the short notice and whatnot. But it was more of a heart pick. I felt like it was Andrade would be a little bit overwhelming. But man, she just did not look very good in this one at all. You can definitely say many a time that we've seen Andrade exposed at this point, but I feel like this fight was a bit more of an exposure than maybe some of the last couple. Like the Joanna fight is obviously a big one to highlight. The Valentina fight, also a good one to look at weaknesses in Andrade. But man, and this is not taking anything away from Blanchfield because I think it's partially on her as well, because she was piecing her up with the jab very nicely in the first round, snapping her head back, exposing, but taking advantage of the lack of chin tucking that we have come to be accustomed from Jessica Andrade. She doesn't do that very well and is able to get away with it by overwhelming people with her power and pressure and whatnot. And we saw points of frustration in that first round where she was frustrated enough to just go back to that old bulldozer kind of routine of hers where she comes at you, wing and haymakers, which are actually, they're powerful, but I feel like she was just very off in terms of setting her feet. And when she was throwing those, of course, connected with some. And on one judge's scorecard, believed that she won the round. Erin was, I think, a lot more tighter, crisp, technical with her strikes. I think that was pretty clear to see. Was connected with the right hand to counter. And Erin Blanchfield's striking had a solid step up, I think, in this fight compared to maybe some of her last fights. And it's been kind of slowly catching up. But her ground game is obviously where she shines. It always has been. BJJ black belt. EBI winner at just 19. And I mean, gets that takedown in the second round and just slices through passes from guard to half guard to side control. Maybe it was right over to side control. It was just so buttery, smooth, clean. We like that buttery metaphors around here. And then worked her way, taking advantage of Jessica turning over, sinking in the choke. Not a chance she was getting out of that. Crazy, crazy shit. I mean, again, I believe this was possible. I knew this was going to happen eventually. Just didn't know when. Didn't know when we'd get to this point for Erin Blanchfield. But she is just, man, moving along quickly. And lethal the whole way. Silent killer a little bit. Cold-blooded for a reason. This was brilliant stuff. I don't really think there was too much bad from her in this fight, aside from maybe getting a little bit too comfortable in some of those exchanges and getting tagged by Andrade, but I don't think it was too terrible. And, now here we are. She still pulls off the finish against one of the most dangerous female fighters out there. So, not a good one for Jessica. I don't think it hurts her too much. In terms of she's got so many options, flyweight, strawweight. I think she's definitely not getting the strawweight title shot now, but she'll only have to win one more max maybe. So I don't know. She's in a weird spot. She's in a very weird spot. But performance-wise for Blanchfield, this is like I think a 9. I think a 9. It's not a perfect 10 because again, maybe not as clear cut of a first round as you would have liked to see, but man, for everything considered about this matchup, this was a 9 performance from Blanchfield, I would say. As a fight, it was fun, enjoyed it. High drama a little bit. I think I'd give it a solid 8. I really enjoyed this. Was looking forward to it a whole bunch. Yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So, Sintro saying, I think this is fair to say, but Jessica Andrade can hit pretty hard, but very little of her success is based on her skill. I mean, I think it is fair to say she can definitely hit pretty hard. That is certainly fair, but very little of her success based on her skill. I don't know if I'd say very little. I mean, she's definitely still skilled. She's definitely still skilled. She wins with more fashions than hitting hard. Obviously, that helps a whole bunch. But yeah, no, like I said, I think this was a bad one. This was clearly a bad one. Sindra says Andrade's success hinges on her being very tough, being well conditioned, and having hitting power. Fair. Generally, she can fight not in not the smartest way. Still KO most women to an extent. Her chin is still in the air, and her punching form is not good. I agree with that in this one, especially. Yeah, media still think that Whaley versus 200 is competitive. Amazing. I mean, I feel less certain about that after seeing this one, but like I said, my whole thing has always been that it'd be more competitive than the first fight. Yeah, it's not saying very much. First fight was not very long. Jimmy says, I think after watching that fight, Whaley demolishes Andrade in the rematch, like Dan and Ghost have said. Certainly possible. Ghost said, did I think Erin Strickland was good? No, but she was confident and had the right idea. The biggest problem was Blanchfield keeps her left hand dangling. And yeah, she was listening to her corner, though, as they were giving out instructions, which was nice. Mrs. Whaley was the one that exposed Andrade would do it again at a long clinic, as Ghost was saying. I disagree. I don't think that Whaley was the biggest exposure. I think that, yeah, she did to an extent, but I think on Joanna Shevchenko and Blanchfield exposed her a bit more. Again, more time to do so. But yeah. Makoto says, should Jessica get a strawweight title after losing 125? So I don't think so. I never like losers to get title shots. Could I see it happening still? Yeah. Will it? I don't think so. I don't know. We will see. Yeah. I think that, and getting finished too, I think that definitely hurts the UFC one to kind of promote that or something. So I don't know. We will see. Not confident on that, but again, we will see. Lemos is probably real happy right now. I'll tell you that much. She's got to be jumping for joy. She's like, all right, there we go. Oh, I forgot that we have one more. My bad. On UFC Vegas 69, that is. So yeah. Anyway, congrats to Erin. Surprised but not surprised. I'm gonna brag a little bit when I have the opportunity, and I think this is a good moment for that. So love to see it, and curious to see what will be next for both of them. Really, of course. So, all right, but what happened earlier in the night was not surprising either. But Mayra Bueno Silva defeated Lena Landsberg via second round knee bar. I forgot to put submission there, but that's what that is. At 446, and this isn't even, my goodness, that shows you where I'm at right now. It's not even a little tab. There we are. Get it together, man. MBS retires Lena Landsberg is what actually happened there. Because Lena Landsberg did retire afterwards, and she was very likely going to get cut with a loss anyway. So she avoids that kind of the Felice Herrig route, the Jessica I route. We've seen this happen recently. Fighters who are on these losing streaks retire before getting the axe, so kind of save themselves that pink slip, if you will. But you never like to see someone lose their job, but you like to see when they know when to hang it up. So it's pretty much the same exact thing. MBS making some waves. I thought she looked pretty sharp on the feet too when this fight was standing there, and then on the ground was working from good positions on top. And it was funny because I didn't catch this fight live. I had to go back and rewatch it, and I knew the result already. But I was like, how is she going to pull this off? Because she was not in a position whatsoever. And like as the second round was dwindling down, I was like, how is she going to pull off a knee bar from here? And then, Landsberg managed to get her off and got herself in trouble. Very beautifully executed, real quick, like in the moment that it was provided to her. So I thought this was a very good performance from Bueno Silva. Love me a good knee bar. You don't see them too often, so when we do get them, it's like, ooh, that's nasty. That is a nasty one. Never looks good. So, and Lena, I know she had an ACL issue. I don't know if it was on that leg, but in the past. So maybe more susceptible to being a little bit afraid and not lasting out those final 14 seconds, as you can see right there. But Bueno Silva climbing the bantamweight ranks, which is good. You need to see that in this division in particular. I thought this was a great performance from her. I would give this a, this is maybe I don't know. I don't want to go as far to say this was a perfect performance, or it might be that's hard to get. I'm gonna make that's gonna be a special thing. So like Erin Blanchfield didn't get one, she gets a 9. I think Bueno Silva gets a 9 too. Though. This was pretty clean and dominant from her. Did what she needed to do. Maybe could have finished it sooner. Would have been nicer to get that a nice 10 out of 10 rating. But I'll give her a 9. This was what she was supposed to do against Lena Landsberg. So. Good stuff there. As a fight, wasn't super exciting. Just a good performance from Bueno Silva. So I think that as a fight, it was like a 4, maybe. Not very good. But Bueno Silva, though, it was all about her the whole time. This matchup was a little bit not a setup, but it didn't need to happen. So she keeps on climbing. What, she's number 12 now or something in the official rankings. I'm not sure, but yeah, curious to see what's next for her. She needs a step up. Give her somebody a little bit more notable and coming off a win. That'd be good. I'm curious to see what is next for her. Yeah. As Jimmy says, maybe for Lena, don't stand in front of someone's guard so they can invert with a heel hook. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that was quite a sequence. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Cintro says, so then general question, do I think that improvement is an overused term in MMA? What is improvement? Just a winning streak? I mean, obviously that is a good indication that somebody could be improving if they were not winning beforehand. So yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to improve. Obviously, adding different tools to your toolbox, rounding out your game, and showing that over the course of preferably wins, you would like them to be a winning streak. Doesn't have to be, but that's the best indicator. If you're winning, then something's working. Something is working. But all right, I think we're moving along pretty decently here. As that was UFC Vegas 69. Closing it up, throwing it away, because we can definitely do that. Aside from those 2 fights, those were probably the most enjoyable ones. I didn't actually watch the whole card. I watched like the main event, the main card, which I heard was a lot worse than the prelims. But yeah, forgettable for the most part, seems like. And my goodness, some of those in particular. William Knight, I'm not pointing at you, but I'm just saying. Anyway, Deep Jewels 40 also went down this past weekend. Lots of things happened over there in Shinjuku, Tokyo. Let's take a look. Let us take a gander, if you will. It's funny, the mouse is gone now. I don't know if it was there in the beginning for you guys, but it's gone now. Anyway, Rin Nakai, shocker, stunning, absolutely mind-blowing. Gets the rear naked choke submission in round 2 against Oe Karayama. Again, what she was supposed to do. Thought this was a title fight. For some reason, it wasn't. She is the flyweight champion. Not that Kuriyama deserves a title shot. She definitely does not, as she is now below 500 on her record. Like this fight did not need to happen, but it did happen. Congrats to Rin. Keeps on keeping on. 10 finishes in a row since she competed in the UFC. Still wants to get back in the UFC. Wants to fight Valentina Shevchenko. And that's the biggest kind of thing that came out of this was Shevchenko actually responded to her. She tweeted at her and said she is open to the fight, come back to the UFC, and she will check her skills, is what she said. And Valentina has been in Japan. I think she's still in Japan right now, and she was at this event, reportedly, at least for a little bit. I don't know if she was there for the fight, like the main event, but she was there in attendance for a little bit. And she's been training with Kanako recently and Mizuki in a way. And then also heard that she was doing some training at AACC. So Ayaka's gym, of course, Arioshima, Megumi's old gym, one of the most legendary gyms in Japan, especially for the women. So yeah, very interesting. I think that Shevchenko actually acknowledged Rin Nakai. How about that? That's Nakai's got to be over the moon, and she had a whole bunch of responses to it because she desperately wants to get back in the UFC. So might have punched her ticket. Who knows? But gotta hurry. She is 36 now, and just wasting time with these fights. That's for sure. Just staying active. That's what's going on. But yeah, I heard the first round was pretty uneventful. Have not got to see this yet, but in the end, gets the job done. And then a little bit of an upset here, and the co-main event, as Hime suffers a first round loss. 5 seconds left. Submission rear naked choke to Machi Fukuda. At strawweight, most of you will remember Hime, Namiko Kawabata, for her upset win last year over Sarioshima, the atomweight, top atomweight, and atomweight champion of Deep Jewels. So moves up to strawweight here and suffers a setback. So Hime losing the momentum she had off that win. Bummer for her. But hey, good stuff for Fukuda, who looks to be someone to watch out for. Hikari Ono also gets back in the win column, takes out Kate Lotus. Unanimous decision. Kamise takes out Yamazaki. Also unanimous decision. And our girl, Eru Takabayashi, gets back in the win column. So we're happy to see that for her. She gets unanimous decision over Hitomi Tanayama. Curious to watch how that one played out. Always love watching Takabayashi do her thing. Sounded like she was able to, flow with her striking in that one from what I read. Murayama, also unanimous decision over Hishinuma. And Moyomi Aoki takes out Pochan Z. Not a good career for Pochans, that's for sure. 0-4 now. Minagawa submits Koyuki with a rear naked choke. Second round. Mana Akagi takes out Haruka Suzuki. Kimura, round 2. And then Sarah, just Sarah, that's all her name is. Rear naked choke. We got a couple rear naked chokes on this one, didn't we? In an amateur bout to open the night, takes out Momoka Yoshikawa. In round 2 with the rear naked choke. How many did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, it was a rear naked choke fest at Deep Jewels 40. So good deal. Good deal. We will see what is in store for Fukuda in particular. Rin Nakai. There's the big storylines coming out of there. I don't know. As Go says, let's give a shout out to Val calling out Nakai despite almost losing to Santos. This is true. For Cintro, Go says, I don't throw around the word improvement. Improvement is something that should be praised, but often gets tossed around due to win streaks. I think that's fair. James says, did Eru get her back taken in that fight? Cannot confirm. Do not know. If she did and she got out of it, then that's a good sign. But don't know. Have not got to see it yet. But from what I read, did not hear anything about any back takes. So I think it was mostly a striking clinic from her. But yeah. Um, and right now, I there's a lot to get to today. I got to manage things, man. If you're throwing a whole lot at me, I'm gonna have to pass over today. I'm sorry. We'll save it for a less less full show. But I saw you were throwing a lot in there, so I'm just trying to move along. We're just getting to the news now, and there's a whole bunch. We're making good time. Maybe if we have some time left somehow, because there's a lot here today, um, I will get back to it for you. So sorry about that, sir. Just time management, time management. As we get to the news, and almost actually missed this one or glossed over it when I was putting things together because it was like I think the day after the last show that we did. But at strawweight, Liang Na is back. She's taking on Brogan Walker at UFC San Antonio, March 25th. Must win for Liang Na. It has been unfortunate first two results for her in the UFC. Brogan Walker also looking for that first win. I think this is a fine fight, though. I think matchmaking wise, there's nothing wrong with it. Should be fun. I mean, Liang Na is, man, she's kill or be killed, at least in the UFC so far. That is for sure. I mean, they've been entertaining to an extent, even though the last one was very poor, very poor performance from her against Silvana Juarez Gomez. But yeah, this will be another interesting one. I think Walker will provide much less of a striking threat to her than let's say Carnelossi and Silvana did. So this could be a pretty fun grapple fest, as Brogan likes her wrestling. And then Liang Na also has shown to be pretty capable on the feet. Can be when she's not kind of running at her opponents and whatnot, seeking some very poorly disguised, not disguised as all takedowns, you should say. So looking forward to this, though. I mean, always like Liang Na. Brogan has been an interesting one to watch too, going from her Invicta career to tough to now. So I'm fine with this one. Yeah, this is a must-win though for Liang Na. She is 100% getting cut if she loses, and especially if she gets finished. So wishing both ladies the best in this one. I will give it a 7 because I actually always, I'm pretty entertained. More so for Liang Na. I just want to I'm very curious to see how her career continues to go. Still very young. And then Brogan, yeah, I have nothing against her either, but I like this matchup. I do. I think it's good for both of them, kind of what they both need right now. So yeah, we'll see. I'm good with it. I like me some Liang Na. We'll see if she can get that elusive first UFC win. But all right, now we get to rant territory. You guys ready for this? You ready? I'm going to actually try to hold back because I don't want to spend too much time wasting my time because I've already done it. I've already ranted about what we're about to go into real quick here. So I don't need to do it again. But Sohee Ham versus Itsuki Hirata has been rebooked for one Fight Night 8 on March 4th in Singapore. So, all I can say is, all I can say that I haven't already said, but have said before at the same time is, one championship has completely and royally butchered the end of Sohee Ham's career, ruined it, destroyed it, mismanaged. Any word you can use. This woman should have fought for the title right out the gate. Yes, I know Angela Lee might not have been around. Still, have her fight in an interim title fight, something like that. That is what she deserves. She was the best 105-pounder on the planet at the time. One of the best female fighters on. Still is. She still is. She has not lost. She has not lost since she was in the UFC. Has to fight Denise Zambonga twice for practically no reason. They make this fight. The first time, Suki misses weight. Mom's like, nah, I ain't playing that game. They still rebook it anyways. Didn't need to happen in the first place. Denise was already above Hirata. I said I wasn't going to rant, but now it's just coming out of me. She was already above Itsuki in their rankings in like the order. She was undefeated before Han beat her twice. And then they go to this. They still go to it, even though it fell through. What the fuck, man? It drives me insane. The amount of wasted time on Sohyam's career at this point when she could just be, she should be fighting for the title. She should be fighting. And it's nothing against Itsuki, right? This is nothing against her, but like, holy shit, man. It's, what are we doing? The risk versus reward, not even worth it, aside from just staying active. I think it's a good, fine matchup for her, but it doesn't really do anything aside from keeping her active. So this drives me crazy. The entire one run for Sohyam drives me crazy. This is a 2, and that's generous. This is a 2 out of 10 because all the bullshit around it. I can't do it. I gotta be real. The matchmaking's terrible. Doesn't make any sense. This whole fight is dumb. And the 2, the only reason it's not a 1 is because I do like to watch both of them fight, and it should still be pretty fun, but more so always interested in seeing one of the GOATs, one of the greatest fighters of all time, Sohyam, in action. The Korean MMA GOAT. My God. Put some fucking respect on her name, please. That's all I ask. And we'll leave it at that. Respect your GOATs. One championship. Jesus Christ. It's so hard. Rant over. Sorry. It's probably still a bit tame, but I just can't. I just can't with that anymore. All right. Moving along to the atom weights at 105 pounds, the real atom weights, not the strawweight atom weights that we just talked about. Mori Suda is back in action, taking on Yuko Kuryu at Deep Tokyo, the second round. I believe that's their tournament show on March 25th. So Mori Suda, one of the best prospects in the sport as well. One of the young guns. What is 19 now? 18 maybe still. She is still incredibly young. And yeah, already getting title fights, which have been, too soon for her, of course, but she was doing that good. She was doing that good. And so for her to lose doesn't really hurt too much. She's just racking up the experience. So very much looking forward to her coming back, continuing to stay active and get back in action here. March 25th coming up, roughly a month away. And then against Yuko. So should be good. Like Mori Suda, she is very fun to watch. Great killer instinct, great grappling for her age. Going to be around for a long time if she has it her way. So I'm looking forward to that. Solid 6. Solid 6 for me. Specifically because of Suda. Don't have much feelings for Yuko. Sorry, Yuko. Maybe she'll pull off an upset. We'll have to wait and see. That's the excitement about it. That's what you got. But all right, speaking of actual comebacks, though, now we have the return of a friend of the show, Miss Jessica Rose Clark has got another fight booked. She is back taking on Tanera Lisboa at the UFC Fight Night on May 13th. No location to be determined just yet, but Jess is back, so that's all that matters. And for that, it's an automatic 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10. And she did not pay me to say that, no. But yeah, I'm very excited to see Jessie back, of course. She is a friend of the show, like I said, friend of mine, openly will admit that. Always excited to watch her fight. Had the rough loss to Stoliarenko the last time out, and then the Egger one before that. So needs to get back in the win column. Nothing really wrong with this matchmaking. Coming back after the injury, I think she had something wrong with the elbow from, the Stoliarenko one was kind of held on a little bit there. Not Stoliarenko's fault necessarily, but maybe the referee just not, stopping the action quick enough. But either way, Jessie's good to go. Still a ways away, May 13th. Saturday the 13th. I was going to say, is that Friday the 13th? No, UFC doesn't do Friday fights, but Saturday the 13th in May. Yeah, and Lisboa, I mean, I think this is her UFC debut. She hasn't had her debut in the UFC yet, right? So it's fine. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Is what it is. Jesse looking to snap a 2-fight losing streak, and Lisboa looking to start off hot. So I'll give it a 7. Good 7 here. Nothing wrong with the matchmaking. It's fine. I think it should be fun. Jesse's always fun to watch, and of course, we'll be intrigued to see how she rebounds after the time away and the losses, all these little factors, and how Lisboa handles someone of her somewhat veteran status now at this point, as she has racked up. I think she's about around 20 fights at this point, and been around for a hot minute. Has the Aussie. So yeah. All right. And we move along to the strawweight division, 115 pounds in the UFC. Sam Hughes will fight Jacqueline Amorim at UFC 287, April 8th in Miami, Florida. So, you guys know I'm never one to lie. At least I try not to as much as I humanly can. But I'm unfamiliar with Amorim. See, she has the checkmat guard on there, rash guard or shirt, if you will. So something to highlight, I suppose. And then Sam Hughes, the Sam Page, definitely one of my favorite nicknames out there, just because it sounds nice and fun. But yeah, I mean, this fight doesn't do much for me. Again, we'll have to look at Jacqueline a little bit closer. Seems like she's a decent prospect from what I've seen some people say. We'll have to do my own concluding on that, but this is a fight. It is a fight. I don't really have any feelings about this. It's about a 3 for me. Makes fine sense. You know, Sam Hughes still working her way up and taking on a newcomer here. And I think this might have been an opponent change. I do not remember. I do not have that in my notes, but yeah, doesn't do much for me, but I think it's fine. I mean, these are strawweight prospects trying to do their thing. Is what it is. Solid 3. Solid 3. Sorry. I mean, just I'm gonna be honest. Is what it is. Might turn out better. So, all right. Now we have some bad news, actually, unfortunate news. So we wish our best to Poliana Botelho, who revealed that she is battling cancer right now. So that's she didn't say, I don't think, what type, but that sucks. That is a massive bummer. Obviously, you don't ever want to deal with that. And so nice to see she was all smiles in this picture and, you know, continuing to fight, but probably not going to see Polyana make her Bellator debut for a bit now. And that's the least of her worries. You know, got a bigger battle to fight. So just want to send our positivity here as always, as that's what our show is all about. So trying to make it about that. So Polyana, we wish her the best in her recovery and a speedy recovery, healthy recovery, all these things as she fights a bigger fight than anything she could fight in the cage. Wishing her the best indeed. So, yeah, you hate to hear that kind of stuff, but yeah. All right. Sticking with Bellator news and the flyweight division specifically, we got some big ones here. Well, not the one we're about to talk about, but we did get some big ones announced recently. At flyweight, Randy Field is back. Love Randy. She is great, always fun. Taking on and welcoming Ashley Cummins, former Invicta Atomweight title challenger, to Bellator at Bellator 293 on March 31st in Temecula, California. This is very interesting. Or actually, I should put, this is a 120-pound catchweight, actually. Sorry. Screwed that one up. Just so used to, you know, flyweights fighting at flyweights, but yes, they can't always do that. So it is a catchweight at 120 because that's kind of Randy's preference, and I guess they're just letting her do that for now, which is whatever. But it's interesting because Ashley Cummins has not fought since I posted about this when this fight was announced, but like 2019 or 2020, whenever she fought Jin for the title. I think that was 2020. One of those years, 2019 or 2020. Suffered a loss. That was the one where Jin missed weight, so she couldn't win the title anyway. But that was at atomweight. Obviously, Ashley's been an atomweight since like 2016, and has fought at 120 before, but it was like before then. So just a pretty decent jump to go up 15 pounds. And yeah, I mean, good for her to get in Bellator and still keep on fighting. Wasn't sure what was going on with her. It had been a while, obviously, since she had fought, but now taking on Randy Field should be a fun matchup. I like it, and it's very interesting because Ashley again coming from atomweight. That's something in its own right as a story. So solid 7 for me. I'm very intrigued by this. I love watching Randy Field. Think she's a good prospect. Did a great story with her at MMAnia.com. Check it out if you haven't. You can just search Randy Field MMA Mania. Sure, it'll come on up, but it's one of my favorite ones I did last year. Very in-depth, very crazy story, life or death type of stuff there from the Phoenix. The Rose City Phoenix, I think is her nickname. So very fun fighter to watch. And then welcoming Ashley Cummins should be something. Then in the featherweight division, we got Pam Sorensen taking on Sarah Collins at Bellator 293. Same event. Again, Sarah Collins' name sounds very familiar to me, but I cannot quite say exactly or put a picture to her at this moment. But good to see Pam staying in action. But this one doesn't really do much for me as it is. Yeah, it's a fight for Bellator 293. There you go. So it's like a 4. I do like Pam and wish her all the best, but yeah, I guess I can't even really judge. It's hard for me to even judge Bellator's featherweight matchmaking anymore because it's just so it's all ridiculous. All ridiculous. It's all over the place. Like Sarah Collins is making her debut as well against a ranked fighter in Pam. I mean, what can I really say? Yeah. So anyway, moving along to a PFL signing, as the PFL has signed Sammy Jo Luxton to the promotion, and she will be transitioning to MMA. She has been a kickboxer throughout her career. I believe around 25. Not quite sure, but I know she's younger. Good kickboxer, and they're adding these flyweights and these names who are interesting backgrounded fighters, of course, always, as they have been kind of doing, at least with the women, and trying to do for flyweights, at least so far, with the upcoming European series, and then the Challenger series, which is this week. So we will highlight that later. But congrats to Sammy. We'll be curious to see how her MMA career starts out. She does not have a fight booked yet, but she is on the roster. So congrats to her. You'll have to see it. And all right, now we will take a quick break here between the news. I'm going to catch up on what you guys have been saying. If you have anything about the news, because we got some here. We got some good ones coming to get back to. All right. Where are we? Okay, here we are. Oh, Alvin has showed up. He says, this is a message to all of the chat. Let's appreciate all MMA fighters despite who you are a fan of. All fighters are great, especially when two of them place a lot on the line with their skills and heart. Listen to Alvin. Be like Alvin. You love to hear it. Appreciate you, sir. Makoto says, did you know Leong Na had COVID-19 at 275? She gave it to Whaley, as Whaley said in a Weibo post. That's pretty crazy. No, I did not know that at all. Again, I don't know how you guys see these. I would totally check out the Weibo stuff or the the Migu things, but I have no idea how to I've looked it up, I think, and I don't know how to navigate at all. I'm definitely curious. Excuse me, guys. As Alvin says, I'm referring to Volkanovski and Makachev, who both should be praised despite the scorecards. That is very true indeed. Phenomenal fight. Loved that one tremendously. Was very good. As I'm organizing again here. Sorry. Cinder says, for the Hirata thing, how does one do the hydration test? Oh boy, oh boy. That's something for its own show, Cintro. I'll have to go check out MMA on Point's recent video on that. Makoto says, do I hate that one commentary says bad things about Ham and trash talk other organizations in a subtle way? Yes, very annoying. Fucking don't do that. Don't do that. If you're the best promotion in the world, you don't need to tell people. If you're the best fighter in the world, you don't need to tell people. John Jones, you don't need to quit bringing. You don't need to bring it up all the fucking time. Yes, it's annoying. James says, why do they push Itsuki so much? She's low activity in head and arms people. Seems like Ham would be someone to push more than Itsuki. Well, they find her more attractive. Let's be brutally honest. Misogynistic, is that the word? I know we talked about this many weeks ago. But you look at some of the thumbnails they used to do, and I don't know if they still do them for her fights and whatnot. And some of the just promotional work they did, for the Hei Chin fight. You saw no promotion for Lin Hei Shin ahead of the Itsuki fight. There probably won't be any for Ham either because they just fucking don't like her. It's like they wanted to bring her in to try and make her lose, and it hasn't worked out. I don't know. Conspiracy. Jimmy says, why does one call it atom weight if it's 115? Aren't they just confusing people? 100%. Just want to be different. Just want to be different. Rue says, I have Jesse Jess coaches instructional. It's very good. Jesse Jess is doing techniques in it. It's so good. Nice. Yeah. Shout outs to Coach Kieran Fitzgibbons, CSA. Very nice. This is called CSA Pad Work System. So it's good to see Fitzgibbons and Jess work the pads. Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Barnes says, I've been consuming a lot of MMA media. I've noticed two types of media, analysis and storylines. Very true. Which is better to follow? I noticed a lot of MMA media love good stories. Everybody should love a good story, I would say. I mean, just in everything. Stories are great. But I think it's good to have both. I mean, depending on what you care about, right? I mean, you don't have to do. You can do whatever you want, obviously, Barton, but it's always good to have a fine mixture, a blend of all types of things. Barton says, also, I noticed your chat likes to talk about teams. Is that important? Last time I checked, there was only one fighter in fighting in the cage, so teams can't be that big of a help, can it? I mean, they get you to the one-on-one portion, right? So they are pretty important. For some people, I guess maybe not as much as others, but you can't beat support, a good support system. So it says he uses Barton's name for his Chipotle orders. You know what? I might start doing that too because that's hilarious. Shout outs to Barton. Makoto says, I have Migu. It's only $275 US per month for all UFC events. That cannot be true. That is insane if that's true. Probably Chinese commentary, but that's fine. I'm gonna have to look into this, Makoto. That's I don't believe that for a second. That seems ridiculous. MMA Art, what is going on? Says, hey man, how do you think? Thank you for joining us, by the way. How do you think a fight between Mayra Silva and Juliana Pena will be, and who wins? Oh, some hypotheticals here. And he says even pay-per-views. That's what I assumed you meant, but and they're free. I mean, they do have a deal with each other, don't they? That seems too good to be true, though. So it makes me call BS. But Buena Silva and Juliana Pena, I think, is actually pretty competitive. I think that fight would that's like a trap fight for Pena. Because MBS, she's dangerous on the ground, very dangerous on the ground, and that's exactly where Pena would want to get her down, wrestle her there. And obviously, her striking is not too shabby either. I think that's a pretty bad matchup for Pena, actually. And who knows what she's going to do next? Hopefully not fight Nunes, but man, we still need to see Bueno Silva fight somebody higher ranked, that's for sure. But her skill set and what she's capable of, I think, in theory, presents a whole lot of trouble for Pena. So I actually, on paper, like her a lot there, but we haven't seen her against, I think, good enough competition yet to say she would win, but I'd like her chances. We'll leave it at that. Interesting hypothetical to throw out there. And James says, yes, I use that word to describe Itsuki misogynistic, but I don't know if that's the correct word. I remember when we looked at that, and I think it probably fits pretty well. I think it fits pretty well. Anyway, let's get back to finishing up the news here. As get out the flags, ladies and gentlemen. Wave them around. They made the fight. They made the fight we were supposed to get a while ago at flyweight in Bellator. Leah McFarlane versus Kana Watanabe, as well as Sumiko Inaba versus Vita Ortega, have been added to Bellator 295 on April 22nd in Honolulu, Hawaii. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Finally, Kana's back. It's felt like a while, right, since she had her last fight. What was it, the Keyholtz one? Yeah, I can't even remember exactly when that was now. My goodness. Yeah. Kana Watanabe. Alimale. That is going to be a good one. That's a bittersweet one. I love them both. I really do. So, man, it's a great matchup, though. I think it's a really fun one. Has a lot of fun grappling potential. That's both what they really enjoy doing. Like, it's so great. That's such a great fight. This is a 9 for me. It's not I would give this a 10 out of 10, but I don't want either to lose. I don't want either to lose. I love the matchup. I think it's really great, but I love both fighters, of course, but I don't want either of them to lose. So this is a 9. Great matchmaking. Makes plenty of sense considering where they are, their statuses and whatnot. Title shot, you could give to either. I know it might be a little bit weird for Alima at the moment, but if she beats Kana and then, she does want to fight Carmouche, and then Kana beats her, winning streak again, get a rematch there. Lots of possibilities. Really like it, though. I really like it as a fight, but as a human and a friend of maybe both of theirs, I don't like it at all. So that's a 9, though. I think it'll be very good. That's a great matchup. And in Hawaii, my goodness, it just doesn't get any better than that. And then Sumiko versus Vita, that's going to be fucking awesome too. My goodness, like those are two tremendous fights. That's a step up for Sumiko that she needs, a big one. Finally, they give her this this much needed step up. But man, it's like really going right to the wolves with Vita, who is looking pretty good lately herself. So, and in Hawaii, damn. Two very good fights at flyweight. I think that one, that's like 8-9 as well. I'll give that one an 8. Inaba versus Ortega is an 8 for me. But those are both awesome. Great stuff from Bellator. They always do very good with the flyweight fights. But specifically, Alima versus Kana, that's going to be the big biz, of course. And then on the card the night before, speaking of Liz Carmouche, she's defending against Deanna Bennett in a rematch, which I don't give a shit about that. That's not needed, I don't think. Sorry, Deanna, but kind of a head scratcher. Didn't really see that one coming, but I guess fine. But that makes everything kind of that I said about Alima versus Kana more relevant. Winner, if they win back-to-back days, line it up perfectly. That might even be what they want. Liz wins, Alima wins. Ideally, they could do that there. Just have them set it up. I mean, even if Kana does, either way, either direction. The worst case scenario for Bellator would be Deanna Bennett pulling it off, and then they have a trilogy and all that stuff. But I mean, first fight was fine, and I thought Deanna has obviously looked pretty decent in her Bellator run, even with the loss in her debut against Liz Carmouche. Well, both of their debuts, I think it was. But I don't know. I just don't care too much for the rematch, honestly. Just something about it doesn't really do it for me. Liz looked phenomenal in the last fight. Don't get me wrong, against Juliana Velasquez. Brilliant stuff there. Very, very smart approach to that fight. Dominated. I don't think she'll have too much trouble in this one either. Shouldn't, in theory. But we will see. So it's I think it's a 5. It's a 5. It's still fine, but I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. This is what Deanna's beat Justine Quiche twice in a row. Yeah, I don't know. We'll move along. Anyway, at flyweight, still with Bellator, Alejandra Lara resigns. A new multi-fight deal with Bellator, despite going 0-4 in her last 4. Even though I do think she should have won. I scored the Absuragova fight for her that she just had. I scored that for Lara. I think she did edge it out, but pretty surprised to see this. I mean, good for her. You never want somebody to lose their job, like I said earlier, and we always say. And Lara is always a very fun fighter, and she's got that Columbia market behind her. So there's that. But yeah, this was surprising, but good for her. So congrats to Lara sticking around for the foreseeable future, and still not even 30 yet. So she's got plenty of time to turn around. Just yeah, got to get back in the win column though. Definitely got to get back in the win column. But yeah. And in addition, to close things out for the news cycle, PFL's inaugural season for PFL Europe, they announced the fighters. I don't know if these are the matchups, admittedly. I don't remember. They might be. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the press release for this, but we have Mafalda Carmona, Dakota Ditcheva, Greet Eekhout, Lizzie Gevers, Marta Valishek, I'm going to assume, Valentina Scatizzi, Italy, Clara Riciguolo, and Cornelia Holm. All different countries represented here for PFL Europe. Winner of these tournaments, I don't know why light heavyweight's missing. That's kind of funny. Winner of these tournaments gets, I think, $100,000 and then a shot in the regular American tournaments. So they got to work a little bit harder, do the Europeans, but decent list. And again, the flyweights, better than the fake lightweights and featherweight stragglers that PFL can wrangle up for their tournaments. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that when it does start. But all right, you guys. We're actually doing pretty darn good here. Pretty darn good on the time, as that's the news. That is the news for the day. For the last 2 weeks, I should say. Jesus. Lots about it. Sam Maillard, going back to the Bueno Silva and Pena hypothetical, says, yes, I'm surprised Mayra called out Raquel instead of Pena. She matches up well against her. Oh, I didn't even hear or see that she did a call out. And that is definitely weird when Raquel, already has a fight. Boneheaded moves, dropped the ball there, missed opportunity. Rue says, is the Kana army back? Goddamn right. Never went anywhere, right? Ghost says, someone tell Kana to low kick a lot of Halima. She has bad hips, and she said in the interview. Yeah, I know. We're the middlemen here, right? I've talked to both Alima and Kana numerous times. I'm very close with both of them, and I will talk to them for sure ahead of this one. So would it be wrong of me to ask her about that? Like, I don't want to give anything away from Alima either, but we'll see. I guess I could ask, like, if she has noticed it in her studying or watching of Alima, but I mean, Alima, she also put it out there herself. It's not a me thing. Alima did it. She said it. She put it out there in the world, and she said everyone knows. So it's not my fault. It's not my fault. But yeah. But Makoto says if you can do the conversion for US dollar to the yuan, 18 per month. So it's I guess so, yeah. And they have 2 million subs, so that's how they profit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the conversion between USD and yuan is lovely, man. Feel so rich when I was in China. It was pretty great. That's probably one of the things I miss the most about it there, is that $1 is like 7 there. At least that was the math I remember using. So it's very interesting. James says we can't do the Kana army anymore since what's her face left Bellator Valerie something. I mean, Still can. Come on, Kana is fantastic. Ru says, can Strawweight defeat Alejandra Lara? How big of a deal would it be for 115er to beat Lara in the global rankings? I don't understand what you're kind of bringing up to me, Ru. This seems very random. I mean, I'm sure a strawweight could. I'm sure a strawweight could for sure. And how big of a deal would it be for them to beat? Am I missing something? Like you're really confusing me with that one. Um, I don't think it would impact very much though at all, especially right now. Rain says it's the first time on PFL that you don't know anyone on the card for the ladies. No, I know Ditcheva, I know Greet Akout. Um, she was in Bellator for like a fight or two. I already closed that tab, so the other ones though are pretty out there. I'm glad to see them picking from every country though and kind of doing that theme. So yeah. I should tell Con how to low kick a lot. Maybe we'll see. We will see what happens, Ghost. I'll set it up though. As Rio says, what happens if someone from a lower division defeat a flyweight? Then they defeated a flyweight. That's what I meant earlier, not just for Lara. I'm so confused by what you're bringing at me, man. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not 100% yet. My brain's not fully working. Been a little bit sick this past weekend, but you're throwing me off big time with that one. Anyway, so let's continue on the previews. We've made good time. But before we get to the previews, what to watch out for this weekend, because there's a lot of MMA. There's a lot of MMA. So there's UAE Warriors 36, PFL Challenger Series, and one Fight Night 7. And one Fight Night 7 features an atomweight MMA bout between some prospects. Nobody super notable yet. Victoria Souza, I believe, and she's taking on, I don't recall who, don't have it up. But Danielle Kelly and Ayaka Mura in a grappling match. That should be pretty fun and interesting. Ayaka Zombie. Speaking of Kana, they've been training a whole bunch, as they usually do with their judo backgrounds. But it seems like they've been training a whole bunch for this this match specifically. And I'm sure Ayaka's going to help Kana for the Alima fight too. But Danielle Kelly, of course, one of the best submission grapplers amongst the women at the moment. I think that's fair to say. That'll be going down this weekend. UAE Warriors also. Josephine Knudsen versus Jacinta Austin. I caught up with Josephine before this fight. And interview will be dropping later today, around 2:30, 3 o'clock-ish Pacific time here on MMA Mania. Talked about her favorite strawweight fighter, so you can make some guesses there. Will be in the title. Her training at All Stars Training Center in Sweden, working with Hamza and Alexander Gustafsson. So shameless plug there. Spoke with Knudsen about the fight and her experience on road to UFC. And what did they do that in Singapore when they started that? And she fought and beat So Yi Dam. Yeah, either way, great chatting with her. It was very fun. And then the PFL Challenger Series for the flyweights. So Desiree Yanez will be fighting. And I think the Challenger Series actually might have some better names than the European fighters that we just saw, right? Like, remember when we were looking at that Challenger Series, actually, I think we can say that for the first time, has a better lineup than the actual tournament. And yes, it's PFL Europe, but that's still pretty funny. Don't know if they did that they didn't do it on purpose because they're all European fighters, but it's just funny to highlight that. So either way, those events are all going down this weekend. So yes. As Sintro says, Kelly is tiny. Yes, she is pretty small. Definitely much more of a 115er. And Ayaka is a 125er. Very solid, thick. Don't think she can make 115 unless she really committed to it. I don't think that is cut and dry as people make it to be. Yeah, I'm interested by it, but Mira only head and arms, so who knows? That is definitely her bread and butter. She is the Scarfold queen. What happens to the fighter at 115? The defeated 125 for the rankings. That is what I'm getting at. Okay. What division does it happen at, Rue? We'll continue this. What division does it happen in? Because whatever this is, I don't know. I cannot process that right now. I don't know why. Just continue to bear with me. Anyway, Bellator 291 is this weekend. And we have two fights on the card. First of which will be at flyweight, and we're not going to break this one down necessarily. Just kind of highlight it because we want to get through these at a timely manner. I think we're actually going to be on time here. I'm proud of myself. We've been pretty good here. And I see I have missed a very important call, so I'm going to need to get to that here as soon as possible. So apologies, guys. But Alina Kalianadu is taking on Jenna Bishop, the undefeated 4-0 Jenna Bishop. To kick things off, 24 years old versus 37, so that's a big age gap. But Kalianadu has been on a good run here in her last couple of fights. Managed to submit Kaskova with a submission heel hook, and then finished Kay Jackson with strikes. So really liking Kalianadu in this resurgence a little bit. Still just 24, but she's got some good experience in the back pocket. That'll be a good fun one to watch. So check that out on the prelims. But then on the main card, we have the rematch at featherweight between Sinead Kavanagh and Janae Harding. So I would say that this fight here for Janae is a must win. As you can see, she's 1-4 in her last 5, with that one win coming a little bit surprisingly over Jessie Miele. Janae has just been rather inconsistent as of late. I mean, maybe you couldn't say that. She's been pretty consistently not too good, and I really enjoy Janae. She was actually the first guest Steve and I ever had on MMA Today, WMA Today. So shout outs to Janae Harding, an old friend of the show, if you will, very OG friend of the show. Once again, taking on Sinead Kavanagh, 2-inch reach advantage in the height and the reach for Janae. And she did win the first fight. She beat Sinead Kavanagh right before this Amanda Bell loss. I'm pretty sure it was, as you can see here. Via a cut. She landed a very nice elbow at the end of the first round. Fight was stopped. It's pretty competitive, but I think Sinead was winning it ever so slightly. You know, Kavanagh is always in your face, looking to box you up, make it ugly, make it dirty. And cut stopped the fight. I think she was looking good there. It was pretty fun until that point. So I think it can look pretty similar to that. She just has to avoid getting sliced up, but she seems pretty susceptible to bleeding. And in her last fight against Leah McCourt, almost a full year ago now, she won with one leg. She beat her with one goddamn leg in one of the most ridiculous fights of the last year. My God. Lost to Cyborg before that. It happens. Katharina Lenner, Olga Rubin, Leslie Smith right there. But not Katharina Lenner. Sinead Kavanagh, when she is able to make a fight ugly, fight in the phone booth a bit, can do pretty well there. And even if you try to out-grapple her with one leg, sorry, Leah, she can still beat you. And yeah, Janae with the Diana Silva loss, and then submitted by Leah McCourt. In a fight she was doing pretty all right in, just kind of got a little caught and then submitted. So very weird kind of careers that they've had since fighting each other. But let's see how the people feel about this one, shall we? Whopping 89% in favor of McCourt. I'm all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. So much to digest. For Kavanagh, 86% expecting a decision. 11% believing Janae will even get the win. I mean, again, judging by that first fight, I think Sinead was having much more success. It was only a 5-minute fight, right? Ate the elbow, and that's what did it in. I think she won the round, but ultimately, the fight was stopped. It was a bummer for her. She was getting the better of the exchanges. We'll see. It's been a while since we've seen both of them, Janae as well, but she wasn't out from an injury like Sinead was. She's never been the most mobile fighter anyways, Sinead Kavanagh. So, yeah, we'll see how she comes back from that. But judging by the first fight, I don't know if any major leaps and improvements, if you want to go back to that topic from earlier, have been made by either. I expect it to be pretty competitive, but Sinead maybe one step ahead throughout, with her boxing being a little bit sharper. Janae should try and mix it up, get her thinking with some takedown threats, and who knows, even maybe pull some off, because Sinead Kavanaugh just not much of a threat on the ground in any area, unless she's on top, but that's pretty rare, I would say. So yeah, that's Bellator 291 back in, I believe that card's in Ireland. So yeah, should be. Should be in Ireland. Let's see. I actually have an email right here. Where is that fight? I just want to see. Oh, it's in the United Kingdom. Okay. All right. I don't know nothing. No, it's in Dublin. What am I talking about? What am I thinking of? I guess technically that is UK. I'm not European. I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that is it is in Dublin. All right, I thought so. So they'll be crazy for her. That'll be fun. All the usual madness you get with the Dublin crowds. Isn't it kind of insane? Maybe not. Bellator has more Irish fighters than the UFC, but it's kind of crazy to think about how much more they go to Ireland. How much more Bellator goes to Ireland, that is. So, yeah. Okay, the fight happens at 125. What happens to the 115 fighter in the rankings for 115 if they beat a 125? What happens to the rankings to the fighter at 125 that lost? Is it a big hit against them? I think it should be. That makes a lot more sense to be Rue. The 125-pound fighter in example and question here should definitely drop because they're losing to an unranked fighter. Here's an example. What's a good one I can think of? Here's kind of in the opposite, but when Frankie Edgar dropped to featherweight for an immediate title shot against Jose Aldo and he lost, I don't think he should have been ranked because he had no wins in the division. So I didn't rank him personally in my rankings. I know a lot of people put him like in the top 3 and stuff like that, top 5 for sure, but it's like, dude, he came in there and he lost pretty clearly. Yeah, it was to the number 1 guy, but excuse me, what are we doing? So I know that's the reverse example there, but fight happens at 120. I don't think it should affect the 115 ranking at all. An example here that doesn't really make sense, because it wasn't in that division. They should be ranked at 125. They should jump over the person they beat, and that person drops. But yeah, I think I answered that, if that makes sense. Jumbo says, hello, did you see the UFC Shenzhen Awards Gala last weekend? Amigo and Billy, Jingliang, and Weili won awards. Well, good for them. I think I saw something about that, but no. As we discussed earlier in the show, Jumbo, I don't have Migu, but apparently I need to get on that. Barton says, is there a best style in MMA? What do you think it is? I don't think it's possible to say there's one specific best style anymore. But best base, I think you could argue is probably still wrestling. I know that's been a long-standing thing. But Rue says the one I'm thinking of is Amanda Hebus versus Paige Van Zandt. Hebus got into 115 rankings after the win and Paige was kicked out. And that fight was at 125 also, wasn't it? Weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I ever agreed with that either. Alvin says, why are so many fan bases so divided? Why can't we all just say that Volkanovski is good, Makhachev is good, Namajunas is good, and Zhang is good? I think we can. I think a lot of people do, Alvin. It's just there's so much passion because they are so good that people want to say that one's better and makes them more good. I don't know. That's kind of what jumps to mind. But anyway, let's close things up with UFC Vegas 70. Man, I'm proud of myself for getting through everything the way we did. You guys, thank you for bearing with me. UFC Vegas 70 preview. We have 3 fights on this card coming up, and we are starting off with Haley Cowan at bantamweight, making her UFC debut versus Erin Perez. Perhaps the most confident fighter on the face of the entire universe. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But Erin Perez here, welcoming Haley Cowan to the octagon. 31 years old versus 28. 5'8" Haley Cowan versus 5'5". Perez, 69-inch reach, 266. I did not realize Perez was actually that short and that Cowan was actually that tall. So that's kind of interesting to me. We have the odds here. Minus 155, slight favorite to the plus 135, slight underdog. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. For Perez, I think that's probably fair from what we've seen from Cowan. You know, she has a very strong wrestling base. Speaking of wrestling, beat Jessica Middleton and LFA. Brittany Cloudy had the loss against Kelly Clayton. That was a setback. Monica Franco submits her in Invicta. Good stuff. Claudia Leite, split decision, still gets her in the UFC. And then Perez has this Stephanie Egger loss. And as we talked about, that Tamirez Vidal fight is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in mixed martial arts, and that is saying quite a lot. Quite a lot. Yeah. Aylin Perez back at bantamweight, I think is good for her, but I still am not necessarily sold that she's quite UFC caliber. Really sloppy stuff against Egger. She is aggressive. She will bring the fight to you, but that doesn't mean it will come in a good manner or a manner that will not get her into trouble. And against someone like Haley Cowan, who will definitely exploit kind of some weaknesses in the grappling, or at least should be able to. I think this is a good, favorable matchup for her, and the odds makers agree with that clearly. Perez can do some good work off top. That is kind of where I've seen her be the best. Don't think Cowan is going to have much to offer from the bottom in terms of submission threats. Oh, but it's going to be hard to get her also on her back, harder than, you know, in some cases, and then Perez is used to. So I think this should not be that great of a fight. Honestly, it'll probably be, you know, two different kinds of wrestling approaches, maybe. I mean, Perez is going to be sloppy trying to land some bombs and get the knockout. That is 100% guaranteed. Whereas Cowan, I think the smarter, more methodical fighter of the two, and just more well-rounded to a degree. And she is favored, rightfully so, 77%, taking Cowan with 23 in favor of Perez. So there you have it. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it's good. Again, we need some life at bantamweight, so hopefully they can both show some bright promise there. But definitely leaning towards Cowan being able to do her thing more than Perez. I don't have the highest of hopes. Okay, moving along to the flyweight division, as Jasmine Jazdavicius is back taking on Gabriela Fernandez. Fernandez's debut, short notice fight, because Jasmine was supposed to fight, I forget who, but they pulled out. And what do you look at this? Minus 125, slight favorite for Fernandez to the plus 100. It's nearly even, but still underdog for Jasmine. 1 inch height for Jazdavicius, and then 0.5, just half an inch in the reach department. And of course, I think that Jasmine's just complete trouncing, or I don't know what you want to call it. Natalia Silva styled on her. I mean, that's what it is. 8 months ago, one of my favorite performances of the last so many years. Natalia Silva just looked so gosh darn amazing. Phenomenal 10 out of 10 performance against Jasmine. If you haven't seen that fight, go watch it, because Natty Silva is the shit. One of my favorites right now. Can't wait to see her back. But that's probably making a lot of people not too high on her for this one, obviously, as Gabby Fernandez. I'm sure a lot of people don't know too much about, myself included, but she is on a good winning streak here. Submitted, you know, Katarzyna. I'm not going to go with the name there. 3 years ago, though, in this winning streak. And then Caroline Martins, most recently in LFA with Edna Oliveira, TKO. Before that, all last year. So it'll be a good addition. Good to have these prospects in flyweight. Let's fill up the flyweight division as much as we can. I got no problems with that. Jasmine, I'm sure hasn't worked on some of the problems she had against Silva. At least she definitely, hopefully did. A very well-rounded fighter. Very good when she can get on top of you as well. Fight from a distance when needed. I can't say exactly how Fernandez will want to approach this, but if you can replicate anything Silva did, that would be good. Easier said than done. Don't think she could do it, but let's see what the people see here. They're also taking Fernandez, so all right. This might be one of those hidden gem ones. I didn't get to do my research. Like I said, you guys got a lot going on. I apologize. Need to give some respect to Fernandez. You're going to have to look into her maybe a little bit before actually this fight goes down, but people clearly seem high on her. And I do think, again, that could be just remembering how poorly Jasdevicius did against Natty Silva. So that could be clouding some judgments here. But at the same time, maybe Fernandez is just some monster. And I mean, getting wins in LFA, that's good too. And against, Edna Oliveira is a name you can recognize. And Martins, who I'm not as familiar with, but yeah, 29 versus 33. I'm curious to see how Jasdevicius, rebounds, because that was, again, not a great performance to be on the wrong side of against Fernandez. No, against Natty Silva. So I think she want to make this one ugly, try and not win at all costs, but, really mix it up, get in Fernandez's face. Watch those potential submission threats. Rear naked, in the past so many fights, caught a guillotine in the last one. Watch the submission threats, mind the P's and Q's, and get the W. Get the W. It's what it's all about. Yes. Oh, there we go. As Rue says, is this a manipulative BS situation for Jasmine? Like they're giving her an easy opponent, or is this take this fight or leave UFC? Like I said, I'm pretty. It was supposed to be Courtney Casey. I think that's who it was. This is short notice, Rue. So Gabriella is filling in. So no, I don't think you can never call a replacement fight manipulative BS because it's short notice and they're just, some cases could be bad. DC and Pat Cummins obviously comes to mind as maybe the craziest one. Dillashaw, Joe Soto. But again, it's short notice. It's a pretty good excuse. And those were actually like a couple days, weren't they both? Like Pat Cummins was a couple days. Dillashaw was like 1 day with Soto. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it was supposed to be Courtney Casey versus Jasmine. So not manipulative BS. Excuse me. But all right, now let's get to the real main event, if you will, of the card. As she's back, Tatiana Suarez is taking on Montana De La Rosa. It's happening. I mean, we still have a couple days. Knock on. I don't know why I went away there. Knock on the wall. I don't have wood laying around me at this exact moment. But Suarez versus De La Rosa coming up. Somehow this fight is not the co-main event, at least. Drives me insane. Tweeted about that the other day, so I'm going to save. If you want to see my thoughts there, go there. I'm not going to rehash. But we have the massive favorite for Tatiana, minus 750 to the plus 540 underdog for Montana. Not super surprising. Tatiana's 32 now. Montana 28. Tatiana actually smaller in the length by 2 inches in each height and reach. And let's see now. Let us see exactly how one-sided the votes are. 96. A whopping 96% are taking Tatiana Suarez, which That's pretty wild. Not that it's wrong, but that's pretty wild. So, there's no secret to this. Sorry, guys. Got something in my throat here. A little phlegmy. A little bit phlegmy. Tatiana Suarez, one of the best wrestlers in both strawweight and flyweight, one of the best female wrestlers, period, in MMA. At least this is the thing, right? She was. Is she still? Credentially and accomplishment wise, yes. But we still don't know if she will be the same after neck issues, knee issues, since what? Almost 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago now. That's the only thing. If Tatiana Suarez comes back the exact same, she's going to blow through Montana De La Rosa. Absolutely blow through her, not going to be a problem. At least I don't think it should be. If not, well, this will be very interesting. This could be pretty competitive. She can still win. I think it'll be a whole lot closer, though. Montana, solid wrestler in her own right. That is her bread and butter to her background. She has gotten away from it lately. With the Macy Barber loss last time out, got a little bit handled by Macy, so that was a problem, and that doesn't help her chances here. But Lipsky, vintage, perfect performance that you want, exactly as should have been, ground and pound TKO. It's just what you do against Lipsky. The draw with MBS, that was a weird one indeed, but leaned on the wrestling a bit in that one. Nice and good. Araujo, for some reason, decided to strike. Completely cost her. Could have won that one if she didn't try to box with Viviane Araujo. Crazy. The Brella win, yeah, that was good too. When Montana fights smart and to her strengths, she does pretty well. Typically. It's just when she's not able to be the bully, like against Macy Barber, that's when she struggles a bit. Against Tatiana Suarez, she's definitely not going to be able to be. In theory, again, if this is the same Tatiana, which I'm not saying it is, holding out to wait and see. But if it is, then she's in a world of trouble, as everything indicates. It'll be interesting to see if Tatiana tries to strike at all, kind of get the feet wet in that area, and show us what's going on there. But after so long away, I think she'll resort to where she's comfortable. And there's not too much, honestly, to say about this fight. Because there's just not so many unknowns, but there are the unknowns. So Montana's best hope, with knowing the same that everyone else does, right, is try and stay away from her, actually. Work from a distance. At least make her think you're going to jab away, to try and pick her apart. Circle, and maybe shoot in. But maybe don't attack the legs. Try and get some body work going. It's just tricky. It's a gamble. It's a big gamble against Tatiana, but you want to bully the bully if you can, because when she's unable to do that is where Montana struggles. That's been kind of the case. Or if she tries to strike with better strikers. But in this case, I think she's fine. The striking is probably pretty equal. Obviously, you don't think of Tatiana Suarez for her striking, and that is fair. I don't really remember how it looks. It's been so long, but it wasn't amazing or anything. So there's a lot of unknowns, and that's what makes it exciting. I'm looking forward to it. So Rain says, something that is bothering me. Why are people so excited for Suarez? She gassed and almost got knocked out by Nina Nunes. Don't know if I'd say she almost got knocked out, but she definitely performed poorly in the third round. And, you can use the injuries as excuses there, Rain. That is definitely it. I don't know if I'd say she gassed either. She slowed down a bit. Like she 100% lost that third round, but she was also injured in that fight. So I think that is kind of what people are looking at, because watch it. We might not ever see that again. Watch if she comes back and just blows through everybody, then it's a completely moot point. And James says, this is manipulative BS. Disagree. We talked about this when it was made. Santino even said so as the TF for Suarez. This is the thing, right? Is it should be. It should be, but we don't know. We don't know, James. Like, assuming that she's going to come back the exact same after that long, I don't think is fair. Like, I think that's pretty high praise to think that she will. To think that she'll just come back all the same, but I'm not going to do that. So I think with the question marks and unknown, it's fair and not manipulative. Should be, right? It is if everything's the same, but we don't know if everything's the same. That's the whole point of the fight. As Rue says, he's hoping that Montana can pull it off, something huge. I hate that people are saying Suarez is a potential 3-division champ. She's been out since 2019. It's not fair to those that are fighting right now. Yeah, no, again, that's my whole thing. Like, if you said that in 2019, sure, right? Because we knew how good and how great her talent is. 3-division, that's kind of, I've never seen that, but 2-division, sure. But bantamweight, that's a big step up there in terms of size. So, yeah. As Go says, for Montana, use your footwork. Suarez's cage cutting is really bad. You can make a wrestler's job hard by staying away from the cage. There you go. Very true. Suarez is a straight line shooter, and pivoting off and staying off the cage can mitigate wrestling exchanges. There you go. Synchro says, I'm seeing a lot of hype on Suarez, and people are just basing it on interviews saying she looks ready and just main evented. Main evented? What are you talking about? She's never been in a main event. But yeah, there's plenty of hype and basically on interviews. How can an interview tell you how ready someone is? I mean, that's just you believing in what they're telling you, right? That's all that is. So, yeah, that's what that would be. But anyway, that is UFC Vegas 70, everybody. My, oh, my. My, oh, my. Should be an interesting one. Lots to kind of potentially unpack just with that fight. Really not so much the other two. But yeah, gonna be good. I'm intrigued by it. It'll be good to have Tatiana back if she is even somewhat the same. If she's still solid, which I think she'll still be a solid fighter, but hard to say if she'll be the same just yet. Like, she might not even show out full capabilities in this one, which is the same thing as what I'm already saying. So just ignore that. Ignore that. So, all right, you guys. Well, we will wrap it up there then. And remember last time we rolled the outro music. Apparently, it was very loud for some reason. I even turned the volume down. I don't know why it was so loud, but there we go. That's the end of the show. I've been your host, @DrakeRiggs_ on Twitter and Instagram. If you'd like to follow me for anything, but of course, visit WMMAnia.com for all your MMA needs. Follow us, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. But at least, please, if you do one thing, just hit the like button on this video. It just takes a quick second. Really helps out the algorithm a whole bunch. We can get always trying to grow and have that support. We're doing a whole lot whether you're watching with us right now live or on replay. Greatly appreciate you all the same. So yeah, there we go. Crazy times, you guys. Crazy times. We'll be back next week, same time, same show. Until then, enjoy the Josephine Knudsen interview that I would have dropping here in a matter of moments here on the channel, here on the website. And I think that just about does it. Enjoy all the crazy MMA that is going to be unfolding this weekend. Like I said, a whole lot of events. And yeah, I believe I will also be back on the fight companion for SCMP for that one fight night 7 events, right? It is 7. So if you guys want to hang out with us over there, I'm pretty sure Nick talked to me about it a couple weeks ago. So we'll see if he still wants me on there. But either way, you can go check them out because I love those guys and they're good friends, pals, and always fun fight companions. So, all right, you guys. With all that in mind, stay safe, stay sane, stay positive in this crazy world. See you